I knew what he was getting at straight away. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, I've had grillings off Pep going, what are you doing in there? Like, get back out here. Like, stick to the game plan, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you can't fault him. Like, look at his CV, do you know what I mean? He's won everything, so what do you say? Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
The official Manchester City podcast.
Nedum, Jack Grealish is joining us today. This is somebody we've wanted for a while. What are you expecting from Jack?
I'm expecting the same as, say, we would see after a game, where he's very open, he's very honest, you know, he's very relaxed, and, you know, he says things that, you know, most other players wouldn't, but not in a controversial way, just in a very open way. Because I think for most people, when the microphone's in their face, they sort of close up because they just want to get out of there. Whereas for him, I think he tends to sort of bed in, just start talking, and he just gives you gold. And I think it's one of the big reasons why people like him so much. Yeah,
he's very unaffected, isn't he? Which is very rare in the game these days. I think he just, he's totally himself all the time, even when the cameras are on, which is what's made him a bit of a very engaging character. You know, when I talk to people who don't even like football, they know who Jack Grealish is, which is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is that ability to sort of transcend what you actually do. I think it then makes a big difference when you do it in a way which is positive.
Yeah.
You know, I think for lots of people, you hear about some that are outspoken, but like a controversial way, tearing people down. Whereas Jack, I think his love for football and the way he speaks about it is what connects him to the everyday person on the street. Somebody playing on a street corner somewhere had the same dreams that he does, except Jack's lived them, but he talks about it from the perspective of someone that did start in that same position that you're in right now. And I think that there is one of his biggest qualities off the field.
He's also a very good footballer. And
it's not bad, is he?
And he really showed that, particularly last season, second half of last season. I thought he was amazing. And by the end of the season, he was one of Pep's most trusted players, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was, you know. And I think, in my eyes, and this could be completely wrong, I think as the season progresses, you see lots of rotations, but when it's the business end, you start to see the same teams start to arrive, especially for those big games. And that's when you find the most excitement and most disappointment, because for some, they realise that, you know, they're not currently in that starting 11, but then for others, you realise that you've been given the nod to address the most important part of the season. And he, alongside Rodri and a few others, were key at that point, to where if they didn't play well, you know, City, it would have been less likely that they ended up winning an historic treble.
Okay, well, let's do this. Here it is, our interview with Jack Grealish on the official Manchester City podcast.
And what a start! First attack, Jack Grealish! Wonderful ball into the box. And City, within seconds, are ahead of Molineux.
With every guest that we have on, we start right at the beginning and say, how did you first get into football, and what was life growing up in Birmingham like for Jack Grealish?
Wow, I can't really remember much. Obviously, I was only young, but you know, from what my parents tell me, everything was just revolved around, you know, like even like a little pair of socks and that, you'd just be kicking it around the house. Just everything was related to football. You know, since I was like 2, 3, 4, you know, I was always just kicking a football around. And yeah, I don't know, I just loved football. You know, everything from being at school to like being after school, coming home. And luckily, you know, I had quite a big garden at home. Always had like goalposts and stuff in the garden with a fair few footballs. So yeah, just everything just revolved around football, and it was always something that I just, you know, loved.
Did you love it because you were good at it?
Yeah, probably. You know, I've always, you know, anyone that knows me, you know, my family, my missus and stuff would always say I'm the worst learner in the world. Honestly,
really?
like, yeah, like obviously I'm trying to learn how to DJ, but I just
can't do it now
because I'm not good at it. I'm not.
Why can't how can you not DJ? It basically does it for itself now.
Yeah, I know, but like even like obviously DJ, not even just DJing, but like even like learning Spanish, for example. Like I wanted to do that, but I just, because I can't do it, I'm just like, I'd love to be able to cook and stuff like that, like, and I just can't, like, and I'm the worst learner in the world. So yeah, luckily I was good at football, and it was something that I loved. So it just, yeah, I felt like it come natural, and then yeah, I just loved it, fell in love with it.
Was there a moment at all when you thought to yourself, I can make a career out of this? Was there a particular moment on a pitch, or something a coach said to you, or where you just thought, you know what, I've got a chance here?
probably like this is obviously growing up. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're like 13, 14, you know, you have agents and your parents and coaches saying, you know, don't get like too ahead of yourself, basically. But then it was probably, you know, all the other guys in my age group, you know, you used to come out of school and stuff like 1-2 days a week. And then I think it was like at the end of year 9, at the start of year 10. So I must have been like 14, 15, where Villa said to me, you know, we want to take you out of school like full time. And obviously I was getting tutored then at Villa I think it was like an hour and a half a day. But then I was only like 14, 15, you know, I was with the scholars, like the under 17s, under 18s, like full time. And then that was when, I thought, well, you know, for them to be asking me to come out of school full time and just get tutored at Villa, and that was when I thought, I could.
Were they hostile to you, or were they nice to you? Like seeing this young kid that's been jumping ahead of everyone else, like the scholars.
Nah, do you know what? They were good, you know. They were good. Do you know what? I still speak to a lot of people that I played with and that were a few years older than me, you know. It's crazy because you look back now and you think, you know, like you think, as if I'm playing with this player. You know what I mean? Like, you know when you're like 14 and you used to look at the under 18s and they used to be like, stars, they were the stars and you used to look at them and think, like crazy. Do you know what I mean? And now I look and I think like a lot of them aren't really playing football anymore. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's mad. Like, you know, I had players that were getting bought for like 50, 60,000 from like other clubs and that at the age of like 17, and I was just like, you know, like you said, they were the stars. And now a lot of them, you know, aren't really playing anymore. So yeah, but you know what? Like, they was always good with me, honestly. Like the older lads, you know, they didn't like, you know, think, who's this kid like? Do you know what I mean? You know, sometimes you get that like that tough love. But honestly, they were always good with me.
What was Villa like as a learning ground for you? I mean, obviously you were there for a long time, but they looked after you well, and you know the level was high. It must have been a good time to be there, young player.
Yeah, they were brilliant with me. I remember training with the first team for the first time. I was 14.
Sorry, what? He's just rolled off his tongue like it's normal.
14.
I was 14 training with the first team.
Yeah, I was 14, honestly, when I trained with the first team for the first time, and there was like Shay Given in goal.
Wow.
Stephen, obviously you know Stevie.
Yeah. At 14, that's wild.
Yeah, Darren Bent. And I always remember there was a photo, like obviously there was a photographer there, and I was in the back of one of the photos and I was buzzing. I had this yellow kit on, like a yellow training kit. And I think Darren Bent was like shooting or something. I was just in the back of it. I'm sure it was like my display picture on like social media for a while. Obviously back then, like this was like 10 years ago. We didn't even have Instagram and that. I'm sure it was just MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. Yeah. Show your age there.
Yeah. But no, I remember. Just obviously training with the first team, and listen, I loved it. You know what I mean? Like I was a Villa fan, and I was doing so well at the time, and I remember for the first time, obviously I remember I hit the post as well in the training session. It's mad, you know what I mean? Like when you just remember like certain stuff. I didn't score in the training session, but I remember hitting the post, and I remember like having a yellow kit on. I remember, you know, Stevie Ireland, Fabian Delph, Darren Bent, Shay Given, obviously Gabby Bonhor. You know, I just remember certain bits and certain things.
So Gabby was nice to you, yeah?
Yeah, Gabby was sound, you know, because like, you know what Gabby's like, he just loves banter and because obviously I was a Brummie as well, he used to just Gabby used to try and like get me to say stuff to other people, you know what I mean? Like, he'd try and like just stitch me up, and like he'd never like be a div to me. He was sound, Gabby was. And Gabby's, you know, one of them people as well that I still speak to this day.
Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing overall playing for the team that you support?
No, I think it's good. I think you get a lot more love off the fans and a lot more, what's the word, like
expectations almost higher as well, would you say?
No, I think it's the other way.
From fans, you think?
Yeah,
give you more room to
give more room, and because I don't know, I feel like because you've come through the ranks and
they want you to make it,
they
don't they?
want you to make it, and because you've not cost a penny, or do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, like, I don't know, at times at Villa, like, I could have a few bad games and it'd be all right, but say, I don't know who else was a winger, Al Ghazi or Trezeguet, who would come for like 10 million, 15 million. If they had a few bad games, it'd be like, nah. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, growing up at a club, and you being like one of their own, I feel like you get a lot more love and a lot more, a lot more, what's the word, like?
Chances, opportunities.
Chances, like opportunities,
Yeah.
So when you came to City, there's this theory that with players working under Pep, it takes them a year to really get going. On the pitch, that would look to be the case with you, because obviously last season you were absolutely superb and it looked like you'd really kind of kicked on. Do you think there's any truth in that? That with Pep, his ideas and what he wants you to do, it takes a while for it to bed in before you really see the best of someone?
Yeah, do you know what I think it is? I think because Pep's like so demanding as a manager, like, and he wants you to like stay in certain positions, and like, I feel like the game against Newcastle the other day, like, for example, that is just a prime example for me of like how good he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, you see Newcastle the week before, and they battered Villa. Well, they didn't batter Villa, but
score-wise,
the scoreline, says it. But obviously, if you watch the game, they didn't really batter them. But I remember speaking to John McGinn after, and he was like, bro, the way they press, he's like, it's crazy, blah, blah, blah. But then Pep just like will sit there. Oh, well, he don't tell me this, but I'm guessing he sits there in his room and he's like, right, what am I going to do here to like surprise them? And then they tried pressing us the other day and they couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know we only won 1-0, but like, yeah, I don't know. But he's so demanding. He tells you to stay in certain positions. Like the other day, obviously, against Newcastle, like, for the first time ever in build-up, he wanted me to be like a left-back. Like, usually, like, he says to me, right, get up the pitch, like, you know what I mean? Like, wingers up here, Erling in the middle. But he was like to me, come all the way down. He goes, I want you like a left-back in build-up. So I was like, right, like, left-back. And that's what I mean. You've got to do it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, for example, for me before Villa, Dean Smith would be like, right, go and do whatever you want. Look, I trust you. If you feel like the weak links, the right back, come on the left. If you feel like the weak links, the left back, go and play on the right. If you feel like, you find gaps in the middle, go in the middle. Whereas Pep, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I go in the middle, you'll probably be seeing him like, nah. Hey,
When, say, if he says to you, go and play left back or go and start left back, do you ask him why, or will he tell you why? Or do you just do it?
Nah, because, obviously I don't want to give too much away in these. Because,
course,
like, obviously, do you know what I mean?
Don't tell us the why, but like, how does he do it?
Nah, but I mean, like, obviously you might want to use them tactics again against another team, do you know what I mean? So he'll just look at stuff and be like, right, I'll put Jack there because...
But you'll know the reason, though.
Yeah, I know that. I knew the reason straight. I didn't even have to ask him. I knew what he was getting at straight away. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, yeah, obviously he knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? But I would never have thought that.
Do you think you'd have got that reason when you first walked through the door at the football club in your first month or two?
First understood it?
Nah, because, like I said, I'd been at Villa for 3 years before. And listen, I was playing like brilliant football and stuff, but that's what I was used to, like, to going in everywhere. And listen, I've had grillings off Pep going, what are you doing in there? Like, get back out here, like, stick to the game plan, blah, blah, blah. But, you can't fault him. Like, look at his CV, do you know what I mean? He's won everything, so what do you say? Yeah.
Say, all right, fair enough.
What clicked for you last season then, do you think? Because your performances seemed to turbocharge at one point, didn't they? Was there something that you can put your finger on?
Nah, I feel like with me, I'm a big confidence player, when I feel loved, and I don't know, I come back from the World Cup, and my first game was against Leeds, and I had a honking first half, man. I should have scored like a few I should have scored like twice, I think. And then I remember sitting there at half time and I was thinking, oh God, like honestly. And I went out second half and then I got 2 assists for Erling, both of them. And I don't know, after that then, like obviously, then I didn't play, I think, about a week later against Chelsea. And then I come on, me and Riyadh, we come on at the same time and I got the assist for Riyadh. And then I started to get like, you know, more goal involvement and I don't know, I just felt like I was playing well in myself and the manager was picking me, you know, in big games like Arsenal at home in the Cup, Arsenal away, Tottenham away, Tottenham at home. And I don't know, I felt the love off him, but not by him saying, I need you and stuff. I felt the love off him just because he was playing me. Do you know what I mean? In all these big games. Like, it's all right, the manager going to you like, oh yeah, Jack, you're so important to the team. But then he comes on a Saturday and you're not playing and then you think, yeah, you're definitely just saying that. Do you know what I mean? But with him, he weren't saying anything to me. But then he was playing me. Like, it's like for me last season, the most important month of the whole season was April. I remember we had 9 games. And I remember like City do like a little like thing going this month. And then it had all the games and I was thinking, wow, like 9 games. Do you know what I mean? That's like a game every 3-4 days. We had like Bayern Munich at home, Bayern Munich away. And I remember City put something up on like Twitter or Instagram and it was like, what results would you want from this month? I remember sitting there thinking, imagine winning like 9 of them. Imagine that. But bearing in mind, we had like Liverpool on the 1st of April. We had Arsenal on like the 20-something. We had Bayern Munich away, Bayern Munich at home. We had tough games, man. And then, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I was the only player to start all 9 games. I think Erling started like 8. I think Erling started most of them, but he didn't play against Liverpool, did he? Because Julian started because he was injured after the international break. But yeah, even like in the Cup, for example, we played Sheffield United in the semi-final at Wembley, and I thought, oh, maybe he's going to rest me and stuff. But he played me, rested like Edison, rested Rodri. But I don't know, I just felt like a love from him and I felt like he trusted me and listen, I felt like I give back to him really. And then obviously I got a little injury and was out for like, 2 weeks towards the end of the season. And then, yeah, I come back and I remember I trained Thursday, Friday and then played in it. Was it the final on the... Yeah, the final was on the Saturday. So I played the Thursday and the Friday and then played on the Saturday against Man U. And I didn't feel fit at all because, I'd only trained for 2 days. But yeah, I don't know, I felt like I love off him and do you know what I mean? I felt wanted, I felt like, I don't know, yeah.
And you're very, very much part of the team then, aren't you? You know, like you say, if you're playing every game, that's the clearest message a manager can send to a player, isn't it? That you are a big part of what we're doing.
Yeah, because, listen, a lot of managers do come out and just bat. Listen, if a manager's bought someone for a certain amount of money, the majority of the time, unless you just pie-in training enough, he's gonna back it, do you know what I mean? Like in the press and all that. And I feel like that it's nice, but it don't really, if you're not playing, do you know what I mean? What good is him like coming out and just backing you, but then you're not playing, do you know what I mean? But then for him to just keep playing me and not even just saying stuff in the press, do you know what I mean? He wasn't going, oh yeah, Jack's been brilliant. He didn't really speak about me, but I knew every week that I was going to play. And listen, that I think the only way I could repay him was the performances. I felt like that April time was probably the best moment of my City career, really.
Amazing. What about your family's reaction to winning the treble? Because obviously this is the holy grail of football. It's the biggest achievement. You've done it. What was your family's reaction?
Yeah, no, obviously it was quite emotional, do you know what I mean? Because then obviously you see my interview after the game and yeah, I don't know. It was just like you know, like when you're a kid, yeah, you grow up and you just, for me anyway, I know people nowadays might go, yeah, I want to win the World Cup when they're like 4, 5, 6. But it's quite unrealistic, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But for me, all I ever wanted to do was play in the first team for Aston Villa. And then once, like, I seen that I could do that, then I go to the next one. Do you know what I mean? It was never like, to me, right, I want to play in a World Cup from when I was young. All I ever wanted to do was play for Villa. And then when I was playing for Villa, I was like, because obviously when I started playing well and stuff, I was in the Championship and I was like, do you know what? I want to be captain of this team. And I remember saying it to the manager. I says, I want to be captain. And then I was captain. And then I was like, nah, I want to get Villa promoted. I want to be playing in the Premier League as the main man for Villa. And then we got promoted. And then I was like, nah, I want to play for England. So then I wanted to play for England. And then, you know, once you play for England and then, you know, you go to the Euros, then I'm like, no, I need to start winning stuff now. I want to win stuff. And then obviously when City, you know, were interested in me, it was a no-brainer, you know, to play under the manager and play with this group of players. And yeah, just, I don't know, just, that was just in my head then, thinking, I want to win stuff. And then the first year, I just wanted to win the Prem. Honestly, I swear, if you said to me in the first year, you can even win the Champions League or the Prem, I would have said Prem, because I'd never touched the Premier League, you know what I mean? And I was like, and that's why I had all that emotion, you know. And even though I didn't play much in my first year or play that well, I don't know, it was so special, man, that first Premier League. And then the next year, yeah, especially after the World Cup when I started playing, I was like, because you got to remember, in April we were in the semi-final of the FA Cup. We were second in the league, and we was in like the quarter-final of the Champions League. And I was thinking, if someone said to me, right, you ain't winning the Prem, you ain't winning the FA Cup, but you can take the Champions League now, I would have been like, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You just snatched their hand off. I think I would have.
If someone says you can win 2 trophies out of the 3, I would have snatched their hand off straight. I would have said, yeah, go on, and I'll take 2 now. And then, do you know what I mean? We ended up winning 3. It was just like written in the stars. And listen, my family know how hard I've worked my whole life, and how dedicated I am to football. It's, you know, it's all I've ever known. It's the only thing that I'm really good at. Like, listen, I love, like, I'm such like a family person and stuff, but football-wise, yeah, it's all I've ever known, really. Do you know what I mean? He's just playing football, so to win the treble, man, it was emotional, really.
You've become known for someone who is very comfortable in interviews on camera after games, because a lot of footballers will go out and deliver cliches and all that kind of stuff, whereas you've got this reputation. I think you and James Maddison's got something similar, whereby you're just yourself on camera. Could you ever imagine a career beyond football where you work in the media, or is that not for you?
No, it's not. Do you know what it is? Like, even now, like, I sit here and like, when I just feel comfortable speaking with people, I probably say stuff sometimes that I shouldn't even say. Do you know what I mean? Like, my mum says to me, like, what are you saying that for, Jack? Like, do you know what I mean? Because I just feel comfortable, and I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm just chatting, you know what I mean? As if, like, using my pals. But yeah, like, after my career, I don't know. I've never.
It's a long way away, that, but yeah, don't worry about that.
No, it's a long way away, but no, it's something that, like, obviously you think about. Do you know what I mean? I'm 27. I'd love to play for like another 8 years or whatever. I'd love to play till I'm like 35, 36. But I think after my career, I wouldn't, like, I don't know. I wouldn't. Maybe like doing stuff like this is nice. Do you know what I mean? But like being on like TV and just like caning people and stuff like that.
Not for you.
That's Gabby.
You know?
That's Gabby. You don't need to do that. That's the thing.
No, but it's just not for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm like, I feel like nowadays, like, for me anyway, I think I didn't play like years ago, but I feel like nowadays it is a bit harder to play, only because not to play, sorry, but to be a footballer, because everything you do, you just get like, you make a few bad passes and then you're on Monday Night Football and they're like caning you, saying,
circles on you, got the tactics board out.
And I'm like, do you know what I mean? Imagine like if that was like that like 20 years ago, do you know what I mean? Like, they didn't even like
use disaster. Yeah.
So like, I do feel like it's harder. And listen, I've been there so many times, especially since I've come to City, like where people are caning me, and I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, what's the point in that? And it's not nice, you know what I mean? So
Does it hurt, or do you get a thick skin over time? Do you think does it genuinely hurt?
You get a thick skin, yeah. Like now, I don't like. I have Instagram, so I feel like on Instagram you can't really see a lot. I feel like Twitter is
brutal.
Oh mate, it's the worst. It's like good to like know what's going on in the world, but mate, for like if you're a footballer, mate, it is carnage, honestly. And I'm just like, I'd like deleted it. I did. Like I deleted it off my phone. Obviously I still have Twitter, but yeah, it's like Instagram, it's just like photos and stuff in it. But where Twitter, like even if you don't want to see it, you like on your news feed and then you press like notifications, and then just straight it's there. Even if you don't want to see it, you're like, oh, and then you go back and you're like, what's he saying?
It's weird. Twitter is weird, you know. Like, if you think about it, imagine someone random just walking into this place now, just telling you what they're thinking and just walking off.
Yeah.
Like, that's just normal. You know what I mean? That's just the way the platform works. What do you think? Kind of such and such is this? Come on. Leave it be.
Listening to what Jack said there, do you feel lucky that you played when you did? Because it is more intense
It's
now,
different.
isn't it?
It's definitely different, but I think it goes in line with the world as well. I think younger people overall are more online. They're more connected to more people. And I think you can find the good sides of it and the bad sides. Like, your biggest fan might be somewhere in Asia and they might be able to speak to you. Whereas from back in the day, you're never going to know that person. You know what I mean?
No, I do agree with that. Like, there's good and bad, you know what I mean?
Like, especially because it's football, it can get so toxic because it's so tribal. Like, people want to talk about stuff all the time, even when nobody's asked them. And most of the time when people talk, they prefer to talk negatively because it's easy for them to do. You know what I mean? Giving someone praise or is like, you know, someone might do it. But if someone thinks, especially because people could be betting on you, people could have you in a fantasy Premier League. You know what I mean? They might dislike the team you play for. They might think you should have scored a chance. So they just let it all go because they don't think you're a real person. Because what you're doing is like on a TV. So you might as well be like a character on a TV show as opposed to the real person that you are. You know what I mean?
Another thing I think you've become known for as well is someone who's got a really good heart, very empathetic person. We saw the video after the Super Cup with, you know, stopping with a visually impaired girl. The work you did with Finlay last year. Ambassador for the Special Olympics. This is like really altruistic, amazing stuff. Where do you think that comes from for you? Because it's not necessarily the norm for all footballers.
Just my family. Like, it's just where I've been brought up. Like, I don't know, like, yeah, just like my dad, my mom. Do you know what I mean? They're so like. Listen, everyone says like their own parents, you know, I've got a good heart and stuff, but like they actually have, honestly. Like, you know, there'll be times where like, say like I don't know, I'm down or whatever. Say I've not played well and I'm sitting in my box after a game, my dad will just walk in with like, I don't know, a little kid that he's just sitting in the toilet with a Grealish 10 top on. And I'll be like, Dad, and he's like, nah, come on, son, like, come on, bless him, like, you know what I mean? And like,
bigger picture things almost.
Yeah, my dad would think, nah, like, this kid's in there, like, it mean the world to him, you know what I mean? Just to come in. Like, I've had times like where, like, not long ago, like, we had a spare box ticket, and my dad, like, never lets anything go to waste, you know, because, like, you get the food and everything, like, people would just, like, leave their families with, like, 6 people in the box, even though it's for 10. And we had 9 people in there, and then my dad was just outside the ground, and some fan from Ireland come over to watch City for the first ever time. My dad went up to him and was like, "You alright, mate?" And he was like, "Yeah." And bearing in mind, I'm playing, do you know what I mean? So I didn't know what was going on. And he's gone up to him and went, "Oh, you alright, mate?" He went, "Yeah." And he must have been looking at my dad thinking, what are you doing? And he went, "No, you going to the game?" And he was like, Yeah. He goes, "I've come over from Ireland to watch it. I flew in this morning." And my dad went, "I'm Jack Grealish's dad." And I think the guy like didn't really believe him. And he was like, "If you want to come into the box upstairs," he was like, "you can meet Jack and stuff after." And I think the guy was like, "What?" Like,
he's getting kidnapped.
Yeah. He thought like something was going on. And then like he spent the day in my box, and You know, just little stuff like that. Like, I don't know, and I feel like that's just stayed with me. Like even sometimes, like when I'm out for food and stuff, and like people come up to me and stuff, like even my family members sometimes, like not my mum and dad, but like other family will be like, "Well, they're not just like leave you, Jack, until after your meal." And I'm like, "Nah, they're all right." Like, do you know what I mean? I just think Black. I think it's because as well, I've been in their shoes. Like, I was that fan that would wait outside the training ground and, you know, tried to get everything signed. I remember I sent like a big long letter to Stilian Petrov before. Like, I wrote it myself and stuff, like when I was like 12 or something.
Top player, to be fair. He's great.
Nah, he is, yeah, really good. And he's another one that I'm really close with, you know, to this day. And yeah, I just feel like, yeah, part of it's because of my family. Well, my mum and dad, you know, the way I've been brought up. And then, yeah, and then I think the other half is because I feel like I've been there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got a few questions that we ask all of our guests. The first one is, if you got a magic wand, you can change one thing about football, make it better, what would it be? And not necessarily a rule on the pitch, can be anything to do with the game.
2 goals is outside the box. Everyone get booked every time they foul you.
Yeah, imagine that.
Carnage, mate. But you've just got one of those
Nah,
spaces.
do you know what? Not even to do with football, like on the pitch, just to get rid of social media.
Rico said exactly the same thing.
Everyone saw that, yeah? I went to Daffy Mop. He stuck a hand out.
Rico said exactly the same thing before, and I thought that was a fantastic
answer. The same, yeah.
Yeah, and he said exactly the same thing as you, that he just thinks it's just a negative energy that is not good for the game, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. That's what I'd say.
What was the last thing you binged? Netflix, an album, a book, whatever it might be?
The Idris Elba one. The Idris Elba thing on the plane. What's it called? Hijack.
Okay.
Top.
And what question would you ask our next guest? We don't know who it is yet. We know they're connected to City. We want you to leave them.
Is it a player?
Could be.
Could be.
Might not be.
Might not be.
What do you like about me?
What do you like about Jack Grealish?
Right. What a narcissist. Unbelievable.
So the question that was left from our last guest, which was Rico Lewis.
Sorry to jump in. It'll be funny when the answer's nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it will
Don't like him at all.
Yeah, don't
carry on. Sorry.
What was Rico's question for Jack? I forgot.
He said, who is your favourite artist? Because he was talking about music, and he said music represents who you are as a person, like what you listen to.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
That's what he was saying. Well, go on.
See me, yeah, I like every different type of music. Like, I like house, I like R&B.
Why?
I used to like...
why though? Does it give you good memories of like places you've been and stuff like that? Yeah. So that is representing who you are then. Because you're in places where...
It gives me a lot of good memories, man. Like, if I went through most of my songs, it reminds me of something. Like, whether it be like a night out, a holiday with my family, a holiday with my missus. I don't know, just every song reminds me of something.
Yeah, so he's kind of right then, because it does represent who you are a little bit.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could say so. But yeah, I like everything, mate. Honestly, like 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Like cheesy music, house, R&B. But I do like a house now.
Oh, because that's what you're DJing, isn't it? Is that what you're trying to DJ?
Trying.
That's a starter pack. That's literally step one to DJ.
Is
house. 120 BPMs, try and match them up. We've all been there.
Post-playing career could be DJing then, couldn't it? That could be.
If you had anything about it, we could do it at the same time as playing.
Yeah.
You could be in charge of music in the dressing room now.
Exactly.
It was in charge. Is it? Yeah. Right, Jack Grealish, thank you very much for joining us on the Man City podcast.
No worries. Cheers,
really
guys.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
And it's Jack Grealish, and that's a goal that means so much to him, and the City fans erupt with joy, and that will mean the absolute world to him and Pep Guardiola.
The official Manchester City podcast with Rob Pollard and Nedum.
I really enjoyed that. He was very open, as we expected him to be.
Very much so.
Any standout moments for you there?
Again, the honesty, you almost expect it, but then you never really know how he's going to describe it. I like the fact that, he talks about what he was like as a young player. I didn't realise he was training with the first team at 14.
No, I didn't either.
That's outrageous.
I wanted to ask him, but we were kind of running out of time. Like, was he a big 14er? Because, you wouldn't have put me with men at 14, I can tell you that.
Yeah. the talent was there, and I think physically he must have been able to like defend himself as well. Otherwise, you'd never get the nod. But again, he just has a way of talking about football from the perspective of someone who always dreamt of being there. And I think once you start playing, most people, you just think about it as if this is all you've ever done. But that connection to the past is a thing that kind of in some ways fuels his future. Whether it's a case of he wants to play for Villa, wants to be captain, he wants to be the captain for Villa in the Premier League, he wants to win a Premier League, he wants to win a Champions League. Like, everything's stage by stage. And I think those people that say, oh, you know, I want to, as he said there, I want to win a World Cup. When you're like 12 years old, you say you want to win a World Cup. It's about 1,000 steps before you get there. I was going to say,
you're getting a bit ahead of yourself, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah. That's a dream. Whereas for him, each thing is a logical step. And I think that sort of dictates the way that he looks at football.
I loved the honesty about, you know, him needing love or needing to feel love. And not necessarily an arm around the shoulder and being told you're brilliant, but actually feeling part of the team. And the more he felt part of being in the City 11, the better his performances and the more he was delivering.
100%. I think when you see someone bed into a team and play week in, week out, that's when you'll see their best football. Unfortunately, not everyone's afforded that opportunity. But for Jack, he got it. And he was a key part of it. He was one of the names on that team sheet which he could have written in ink and just moved on throughout the rest of game to game. You know, it was him, there was Rodri and a few others. And like, we got a chance to see his true potential. And I think what goes under the radar that won't get discussed is that him playing last season, that's the best football he's ever played. Because for other people, they think about the transfer fee, think about how City's a different animal, this, that and the other. He had one of the best months of his career in the season where his team won a treble. Like, someone doesn't need to say that for him to acknowledge that's what's happened. And, you know, how could you not have confidence going into the next game when you know you're a big part of what came before?
Yeah, he was a huge part of our treble, which of course is, you know, the ultimate achievement, the holy grail in football. So he's got a hell of a lot to be proud of. And I'm really looking forward to watching him continue to develop, because I think, you know, he touched on some of the stuff there tactically that Pep does and the demands that Pep puts on him. That's making him a better player all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we almost accidentally mentioned retirement until he said he was 27. I was like, what are we talking about? You know, for as good as he is today, as he understands the game more, understands himself more, understands the system, and gets more experience playing football, because in the grand scheme of things, he's not played that much Premier League football. Before you know it, like, his best years are going to be ahead of him. And I can't wait to see what that looks like, given how important he is for this club right now.
Well, that's an exciting prospect. That's all we've got time for on this episode of the official Manchester City podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you do your podcast listening. And please do send us some messages as well. If you've got questions, suggestions for future guests, anything of that nature, feel free to contact us. But until next time, take care of one another and join us again soon.
The official Manchester City podcast. Subscribe and follow now so you never miss an episode.